All right, welcome to your Wiley Manager Crash Course. And on this week's full-length podcast, Bob, we talked about offsite meetings.
We did.
On the full-length version, what can people expect? Or maybe let's give them some clues or hints as to some of the things we chatted about.
Sure. Well, we talk about a whole bunch of different ways in which you can do offsites and how you might want to do them well. In this shortened version, I just really want to talk about cautions for any offsite meeting. So this is whether you're going offsite just for the day to a hotel room or if you're, taking people to San Diego for the weekend.
Proceed with caution.
Yes, proceed with caution. The first one is you need to have a clear purpose for this meeting, right? So why are you doing this thing? Meetings are expensive.
Yeah.
And even before you start buying airfares and hotel rooms. So what is it that you're trying to get out of this? What do you want to be different after this meeting as opposed to before?
Like any good meeting, an offsite is no different. Understand why you're there.
Yeah, absolutely right. And again, it's really important. What specific behaviors or actions do you want to be different as after this meeting as opposed to before?
All right. What else are the watch-outs we highlighted?
Well, again, if you take people away, away for a weekend or, on a golf retreat or whatever the case may be, remember that people have families. So even though you're married to your job and might think that this is a good idea to go golfing with all the guys for the weekend,
yeah,
there's other people that may value different things like, seeing their kids. Right? So be very careful, right? What might seem like a really nice thing for you to do might be perceived entirely differently for people that maybe value things a bit differently.
Okay.
Right? Watch out for liability issues. So it's great that you want to take people on a high ropes course. What happens when one of them breaks or sprains their ankle?
Yeah.
Okay. Does your workers' compensation insurance cover that, or are you now on the hook for that? All right. Yeah. So think very carefully about doing things that are way out there with people. Watch very carefully about we got to get people out of their comfort zone. Well, there isn't one activity that's going to get people out of their comfort zone. Okay. There's a whole bunch of different things depending on who the people are. So you need to be very careful about what you're trying to get out of that, right? Because a lot of times it ends up being not all that useful. I was going to say something else totally inappropriate.
All right. And there's some other...
That starts with the word cluster. Anyway. Yeah.
And there's some other folks you need to consider too that are going to be watching what's going on and have a certain idea about what they're seeing.
Yeah, we already mentioned spouses,
Yep.
okay? So you got to be careful about that. But also the participants themselves. I worked for a company once that took us all to Hawaii. That was great, except that half the people that were invited to Hawaii said, look, just give me the money. I'll make my own vacation plans. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right? But what about other employees? So you're taking your team, to San Diego for the weekend golfing. What about all the people back at the ranch, right? We can say as a manager, well, that's not my problem. That's their manager's problem. But it creates inequity problems throughout the organization. So just be aware of that. Mm-hmm. Right. Also clients. Right. So depending on what business you're in. But again, I work for a consulting company that, we took all our people to Hawaii, which was very nice, except that clearly made the client think that they were paying us too much.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be careful. You need to figure out how these things are going to be registered in other quarters. So just keep it in mind.
So there's some cautions for you with the offsites. During the full-length podcast, we talk about different versions of offsites, about the kinds of places you may go, as well as these cautions. And if you still want to do one, we have some tips for you if you want to do one of these well. So we encourage you to go and listen to the full-length version of the podcast, which you can pick off of iTunes or alternatively off of our website, www.wileymanager.com.
All right. We'll see you next time, Jed.
Thanks, Bob.